Oh, okay, that makes sense.
You'd rather have football than be here.
It's missing the
Please recite aloud salawat.
Actually, today there's no shahada. So
take your time. Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. صلوات. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So as you know, tonight is Laylatul Qadr, and inshallah we want to have some discussion concerning that. We'll continue inshallah with the discussion that we've been having here and there during the Shahr Ramadan concerning the history of the development and introduction of Islam to North America, which is something that we cannot overlook, that we cannot be ignorant of. We've mentioned some examples of Muslims that were brought to the Americas as slaves. Up until now, we've mentioned brothers like Abdurrahman Suri or Yaro Mahmoud, or different people that we may have mentioned, alhamdulillah. Omar ibn Sa'id from last night, and Ayub ibn Sulaiman from the nights before. Some people that were recorded in history. These are some examples. And there are some examples that have been lost to history, people that we don't know about. From tomorrow night, inshallah, we'll begin discussing what you could call our beginning of our contemporary age. Between the end of slavery with the Second Emancipation Proclamation and the 20th century, so there's a period of 40 to 60 years there where Islam becomes more growing roots in America. Up until this point, right, Islam in America was really a Western African experience. With the coming of the 20th century, we begin to see Islam taking root in North America because the memory of Islam survived slavery. And this is one thing we have to make very clear. The memory of Islam survived slavery, but the details may not. And that's where you get some of these pseudo-Islamic movements like the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, and the 5%er movement that pops up in the 1960s. And we'll go over some of these things from tomorrow night. We'll go over the patterns of immigration in the coming days. You know, where today, till this day in California, you have numerous Mexican-American families with the last name Muhammad or Abdurrahman or Abdullah. Why? Because immigrants from the subcontinent, India and Pakistan, back before there was a Pakistan, immigrated to America in the early 20th century, settled down in California doing farm work, and then when the men passed away, died off, their sons were left behind with the name Carlos Abdurrahman. Or their children were left behind as Juan Abdullah. And they remain in the Imperial Valley today, Mexican-American families whose ancestors were from the subcontinent, came here to do farm work, and they're still there today. We have a very deep history in this country. And I know brothers here, because it's a Shia gathering, people have been wondering, when does Tashayyuh come up? So let's just give you a little taste of it tonight before we go into our discussion for this evening, inshallah. The man who introduces Malcolm X to real Islam, who helps Malcolm X to get ready to go for Hajj, where Malcolm X's eyes open and he leaves the nation of Islam and he becomes a Muslim, is Dr. Muhammad Mahdi, who's a Shi'i, and well-known Shi'i in the country at that time. Our community, our people as Muslims have a deep history in the country, and over the few next couple of days that we have left together after tonight, we'll get into that more and more, inshallah. For tonight, though, it's Laylatul Qadr, and really we have to talk a little bit about some heart medicine that we need and the approach that we have to take towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially in this night, inshallah. So send the salawat. I was gonna talk about this topic that we're gonna talk about tonight anyway, but tonight I'm just a little bit hotter about it, a little bit more excited about it. Why? Because last night I get a call from one of them. Sometimes, man, people call you with like questions, and it's lucky that, you know, now you can video chat or talk through the phone. It's lucky that they don't have choke chat yet, you know. When they come with choke chat, a lot of people are gonna be on the phone, be like, because really people need a choking out sometimes. We don't understand the religion of Islam. Some of us don't even have an understanding of who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So someone texted me last night and says, look, in these Layali al-Qadr, please make a dua for me. I don't know where I stand with Allah. You don't know where you stand with Allah? These things are amazing to me. What gets me so angry about this statement is that people are so comfortable to give Allah feelings. When someone says, I don't know where I stand with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what that means what? You think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? Angry with you? What do you think? You think Allah is upset with you? Maybe you think Allah is disappointed in you. And this gets me very angry because we ascribe feelings to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Feelings like anger and pleasure. So that if I do something good, then Allah is happy with me. And if I do something bad, then Allah is angry with me. And if we're going to take the liberty to ascribe feelings to Allah, which I'm going to tell you now, Allah has no feelings. Beyond one. And we'll discuss that. If you're so comfortable to ascribe anger to Allah, and anger in relation to yourself, really, what relationship do you have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What relationship are you building with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And what relationship are you raising your children in? And this is a discussion we have to have tonight, inshallah. I think we've got the time to do it tonight, so send us along. Let's get started, inshallah. Many of us have built an intellectual relationship with Allah. Do you understand what I mean by an intellectual relationship with Allah? Yani, we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because the hypothesis has been proved. Are y'all with me? Because the theory of Allah has been proved to us intellectually, and so we've established an academic relationship with Allah. Someone came and taught us Burhan Siddiqeen, and we won't get into Burhan Siddiqeen. You want to know about Burhan Siddiqeen, take your time, go do some studies on your own. Google it. But we went and we studied Burhan Siddiqeen, and we became intellectually convinced of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so therefore, we've built our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as masalan, on one level, as an intellectual relationship with Allah, as an academic relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani, academically, it's been proven to us that Allah exists, that He's one, and that we have to obey Him. And so we've established an intellectual foundation, an academic foundation to the relationship that we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are y'all with me? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Huh? But Allah is not a theory that needs to be proved. Allah is not a hypothesis that needs to be understood intellectually. And one of the reasons that we have with our practice of the religion is that we're practicing the religion also academically and intellectually. And we think that this is an imtiaz. We think that this is some kind of, I don't know, how do you say imtiaz in English? Sometimes we forget. I get so excited. This is a plus in our plus column for us. I have a very academic relationship with Allah. I know Allah exists, and I can prove that Allah exists, and I can prove to you that Allah exists, and I can prove to you that Allah is one. I can do it from illat to ma'lul, or I can do it from ma'lul to illat. I can prove it. And I have a relationship with Allah that's built completely on my intellect. That's sad. You're useless. You and your intellect. What do you think? You think Allah is a hypothesis that needs to be understood? You think Allah is some sort of burhan that needs to be explained? And then we wonder, why can't I feel close to Allah? Why is it so hard for me to obey Allah? Why? Because Allah is not a mental construct that needs to be proved. And if we've built an intellectual relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then this is necessary. And I'm not trying to say don't build an intellectual understanding and academic understanding of these things, but this cannot be the foundation of our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot have an academic relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because look, intellect is useless. Why? How are you going to say that? I'm going to talk about me. I'm not going to talk about you. They print it on a pack of cigarettes, don't they? The Surgeon General's warning. Cigarette smoking is hazardous to your health. Isn't that a burhan aqli? But in Canada, they put the pictures on the pack of cigarettes. I hate to see them. I hate to see them. I turn away from the pictures on the package of cigarettes in Canada. You know why? Does my aql accept that it's bad for me? Yes, but I don't care. Do y'all understand what I'm trying to say? Can y'all dig it here? I don't want to see the picture on the back of the cigarettes of the lungs that have been torn about by cancer. Why? Because I like to smoke and I don't care what your burhan aqli says. Are y'all understanding what I'm trying to say? I don't care what the academic argument is. I could care less what your intellect tells you, what the Surgeon General says, Bisitin Jahannam, I don't care. Anthony Fauci, shoot into the goddamn moon. Who cares about your intellectual philosophication? I want to smoke. Is intellect any use? Has it worked for you in obeying Allah? Has your intellect worked for you to say, oh Allah, I have this great academic relationship with you. Now I will not do any dana. Now I will not commit any guna. Now I won't commit any. It doesn't work for you, does it? You can prove that Allah exists also. Does that stop you from sinning? Does it bring you closer to Allah? No. So what is it? Let's move on. Send us salawat. Some of us have built a legal relationship with Allah. We have a legal relationship with Allah. What's that mean? We have a legal relationship with Allah. Yani our relationship with Allah is built on haram and halal. Our relationship with Allah is built on mustahab and makruh and wajib. And this is the relationship that we have with Allah. What we're doing is mu'amala. This is the relationship many of us have built with Allah. We've built a relationship with Allah. This is the relationship between an outlaw and a policeman. That's the relationship that we've built with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I know this relationship well, okay? Because again, I can't talk about you, I talk about me. For 9 years, I drove without a driver's license. Illegal. Because I made up in my mind that this thing, I owe them tickets from 2000, not even 2000. I owe them tickets from 1995. And 20 years later, they want to get my money still. They still want the money, Baba. Villain couldn't leave me alone. Go away. If I was a Bachebaz, the statute of limitation is 17 years. And they let you go. But if I drive with it and get a ticket, Baba, I owe you for the rest of my life. And you'll take my driver's license away. I'm not the one to mess with. Take it. I'll drive every day anyway. One eye in the rear view mirror and one eye on the road. And look, I got so good that I could see the police at night. 5 or 6 cars behind me. Because you get good to recognize them, huh? When you're a convict, when you're a criminal, when you're an outlaw, when you're breaking the law, yani you're always on the lookout for the policeman, isn't it? That's the relationship I had with the police for 9 years. Until finally I said, okay, I'm getting too damn old. I gotta pay these tickets and drive legally, right? But I know the feeling of dipping and dodging from the police. The minute the police come behind you, you turn into the shopping mall. Why? Because you don't want them to pull you over. Many of us have built a relationship like this with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The relationship of an outlaw and a policeman. We have the idea that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with us. That Allah is upset with us, that He wants to punish us. And as I said, we like to ascribe feelings to Allah. So tonight, let's ascribe some feelings to Allah that are more appropriate than the feelings of anger or hatred. Because these are the feelings that we apply to Allah in regards to our own self. When we try to consider, what is my position? Where do I stand with Allah? All too many of us are saying, Allah hates me. Allah's angry with me. I'm a sinner. Allah's going to put me in hell. Whatever the condition is, right? This is the relationship we've built with Allah as a legalistic relationship. And even I wish it was like that. Because even then it's tainted with selfishness. Y'all ever heard of Rajab Ali Khayyat? Don't know who Rajab Ali Khayyat is? One of the great urafa of our time. He passed away, but of our contemporary age, Rajab Ali Khayyat is one of the great urafa mystics of our time. Ulama used to go to Rajab Ali Khayyat's house to get advice from him. Maraji Taqleed, and you can tell from his name, Khayyat. What's his job? What's his job? Tailor. He's a tailor. He's not a Ruhani. One time, one of these big ulama, when they were first starting out in the path, go to Rajab Ali Khayyat's shop to get the amama, the abba and the qaba made. And so Rajab Ali Khayyat asks him, so you're going to go to Dars al-Talabiki, to go study in the house, alhamdulillah. And he tells him, be good for Allah's sake. Don't be good for your sake. And he says, deep statement if we only take the time to understand it. But because many of us have built an academic relationship with Allah, or a policeman relationship with Allah, the relationship and the interpretation that we have with ourselves and is, just like someone told me last night, the things that I'm doing them for my own sake. You've already failed. Do you think the good deeds that you're doing are for your own sake? If you're making progress in the path, are you doing it for your own sake? And when you run away from Jahannam and run away from disobedience to Allah and Allah, and you get away from that sinfulness towards Allah, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for your own sake? Are you engaged in mu'amala with Allah? That, oh Allah, if I do this, then you will give me that. And if I don't do this, then you won't do that to me. Is this our relationship with Allah? Really, we have to ponder on these things. Especially tonight, Laylatul Qadr. We have to think on these things. The best way I can give you an example of this then, let me work it out in my mind. Send a loud salawat, inshallah. Have you ever felt unloved? Maybe your wife didn't love you, or your husband. Maybe you felt like your children didn't love you, or your family didn't love you, or your friends don't love you enough. And it's true, they don't. Your wife doesn't love you enough. Sisters, your husband doesn't love you enough. He can't. It's not possible. The desire for love that we have inside of us is greater than what any one human being can give us. Yeah. My wife, no matter how much she loves me, she can't love me enough because my capacity for love is greater than that. Y'all dig what I'm trying to say? But when we feel unloved, it can have an effect on us, can't it? We don't feel that we're loved. It can have an effect on how we behave, on how we act. It can make us feel even depressed. We cannot build an academic relationship with Allah, an intellectual relationship with Allah. It's good. Put it in your back pocket. You have to understand these barahi. You have to understand these theorems because on a certain level, intellectualizing something is good. And we have to obey the law. I'm not telling you to negate the law and don't have a legal relationship with Allah. That's not what I'm saying. But what we have to build is a loving relationship with Allah. Our disobedience up until now to Allah is because we had an academic relationship with Allah. And I already told you, we can disobey our intellect, can't we? The intellect is telling me one thing, Nuruddin, this is bad for you. Nuruddin, don't do it. But I ignore my intellect and I do what I love. And anyone, isn't it? Isn't it? And all of us do it. We ignore our intellect, what we've learned in school and what we've learned in college, and we ignore the academics and we do what we're gonna love anyway, isn't it? If we're building a relationship with Allah legalistically, the danger is that we're building a very selfish relationship. I want to get better for myself. Do you know what that does to the human being? If I want to be a good person for myself, it will make me arrogant. And that's why when people come to our masjids, they say the people are arrogant. I'm gonna tell you what they talk about you. Now, I don't know about Indiana, but I know in the rest of the country, in Florida, when somebody new comes to the masjid, I have to tell them, look, please, when you go to the masjid, don't judge Islam by the Muslims that you will meet there. Usually, when a new Muslim comes along, I don't even take him to the masjid till we've strengthened him a little bit, till we've built him up a little bit. Once he's tough enough and strong enough, then we take him to the masjid. Because if you take a new Muslim to the masjid too early, he'll leave the religion. No, wallahi. No, it's the truth. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. I've seen women put the hijab on and believe in Allah next salat, and the minute you bring them to the masjid and they get to know the sister side, they take that off and they're gone. You'll never see them again. And it's the same with the men. The men become Muslims and they come, and the minute they meet the men on the men's side, they're going, why? Because you're arrogant. Why are you arrogant? Because you're only getting better for yourself. You've built a legal relationship with Allah. Your fear of hell is stopping you from moving forward. Your desire for reward has tied your hands. You have a legal relationship with Allah. You're only getting good for your own sake. And when you only get good for your own sake, then you look at yourself and you say, why? I'm good. Look how good I am. I'm Ahle Masjid. This is one of the dangers in building that legal relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That when we change, we're not changing and progressing for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're changing and progressing for our own sake. We have to build a loving relationship with Allah. Look, let me tell you, people run away from intellect. People run away from the law. Don't they? Who runs away from love? If the policeman tells me to do something, if Anthony Fauci tells me to do something, I'm not going to listen. But if my beloved tells me to do something, if the one who loves me like no other asks me to do something, I'll have a different response, won't I? Even now, it's not always the same with all of us, right? But if your boss asks you to do something, or your loved one asks you to do something, it should have a difference. If a stranger, if the law asks you to do something, or your wife asks you to do something, or your husband asks you to do something, there should be a difference. We have to build that relationship with Allah. That we love Allah. So as we said in the beginning, we like to ascribe feelings to Allah. And I don't know why y'all do this, because Allah isn't like that. Allah isn't like me and you. That today I'm in a good mood, and then tomorrow at the height of the fast, I'm feeling really down and sad and depressed. But then when I break my fast, I'll be happy again, so that my state changes. But then in the night, my wife might call me and get me angry. And so now I went from angry to depressed to happy to back to angry to my state is always. Do you think of Allah this way? Do you think Allah gets angry when you do something wrong? And then tomorrow you make tawbah and now we got happy with you? Is this the idea you have of Allah? And if you're going to give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala these feelings like anger and hatred and vengeance and retribution, why can't you give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala feelings that are more appropriate to Him? If you're going to ascribe feelings to Allah, then ascribe some feelings to Allah that are more appropriate to Him. Look, Allah loves you. He loves you, and He loves you more than anyone loves you. Allah says to Hazrat Musa, you go and you do something that makes the people love me and makes me love them. And Musa said, what? Allah said, remind them of my barakat and my favors on them. You want to fall in love with Allah? Think about everything that Allah has done for you. This is the first step. Be grateful to Allah. And it's not enough. A lot of us say, oh, I'm grateful to Allah. Thank you, Allah, you're the bestest. You have to sit down and count these barakat and count these ni'amat, one by one. Allah, thank you. Thank you for bringing me into being. And after you brought me into being, Ya Allah, thank you for giving me a physical existence. Ya Allah, thank you for a mother and a father, a grandmother and a grandfather. Ya Allah, thank you for food and for water and for health. Ya Allah, thank you for, and go through and count these barakat. This is how you begin to fall in love with Allah. Why? Al-insan abidul ihsan. This Allah Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Human being is the servant, let's use another word, falls in love with the one who does good to them. We have to build a loving relationship with Allah. It's not enough that we be good for our own sake or, take responsibility for our own actions. We have to be good for the sake of Allah. This is how we'll escape arrogance. We have to build a loving relationship with Allah, with attention towards Allah. What does that mean? We've taken even salat for granted. Now when we stand up for salat, Allahu Akbar, and we come. What happened to all these recommendations? Why do we have all these mustahabat? Comb your hair, comb your beard, put some perfume, use miswak, rinse your mouth, rinse your nose, wear good clothes. For men, wear an amama, wear an abba. When you make salah, it's recommended. Just like ladies have a certain clothes that they should wear, and when they approach them, and then many of them do have certain clothes they should wear when they make their salah. Look, we've made a mistake as Shia that we think amama and abba is the clothes of ulama. Amama and abba is the clothes of Sunnat Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And it's recommended that when you go on your mat, you go to make your salat, you wear a turban and a cloak. It doesn't have to be the turban of Ayatollah al-Baygan. Just take something and wrap it on your head. It doesn't have to be the abba of Allah Bahja, but just take something and put it over your shoulders. Why? You dress up for your loved one. Put something nice on for your loved one that your loved one wants to see you. Then when we make the wudu, make it not that we're not thinking about it, make it with the intention of a lover going towards his beloved. And he fill our hearts with that love. Build that foundation of love. When you spread your prayer mat, spread a prayer mat, not a piece of cardboard. Don't just pray on the carpet in your house. Do tashrifat. Y'all digging me? You understand what I'm trying to say? Build a loving relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the only way that we'll really obey Allah. This is where obedience becomes easy. A few nights ago, brothers were mentioning some of these guys overseas that are smoking during Shahr Ramadan. Do you know why they're doing that? Because they have a legal relationship with Allah. Because they have an intellectual relationship with Allah. But they don't have a loving relationship with Allah. Because if your beloved says, I don't like it, then you don't do it. Y'all digging me? Are y'all understanding me for real? Tonight, Laylatul Qadr. Let's begin to leave the intellectual relationship with Allah. Tonight, Laylatul Qadr. Let's start to put aside the legal relationship with Allah. Allah is not a judge who's going to put you in jail or in hell. Allah is not a policeman that's out to arrest you. Allah is not a jailer that wants to put you in jail and keep you there. Allah is not a warden that wants to watch over you while you punish. Allah is a lover who loves you more than your mother loves you. And if you want to ascribe feelings to Allah, then say that Allah loves you. And when you disobey Allah, you want to ascribe a feeling to Allah, then don't say that Allah is angry with me. And don't say that Allah hates me. But say, my beloved's heart is broken. Allah is heartbroken with me. Not that I've angered Allah, but that I've broken Allah's heart. Don't say that Allah is angry with me. say that Allah is disappointed in me. We have to build a whole new relationship with Allah if we're going to progress and grow close to Allah, and if we're going to have any hope of obeying Allah. The younger generation needs to be taught this now, so that they don't make the mistakes you and I made, living a life in sin and trying to figure out how can we escape sin. You know how we escape sin? Stop running from the police. God bless you, stop running from the police. God bless you, stop hiding from the police. God bless you, stop living in fear of the court. Stop fearing the judge. Stop philosophizing. Stop intellectualizing your relationship with Allah. Fall in love. It makes life so much easier, inshallah. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should have mercy on our souls. Ya Allah, forgive us of our sins. Ya Allah, guide us in your straight path. Set firm our feet in your path. Strengthen our limbs in your service. Hasten the appearance of your Imam and make us his helpers and support upon his return. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Salam.
Inshallah, we will have the Amal broadcasted in an hour or so, around between 10 p.m., 10 to 10:15.